Romania Pro wrap-up on the way.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. And we're live for another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, joined as always by the technician, Chris Aceto. And Chris, big day or big weekend in bodybuilding. We have guys qualified for next year's Mr. Olympia competition, and it's exciting. It was a very tight battle between AKIM Williams and RAFA BRANDAO. And I think that the most incredible thing about the whole battle, which a lot of people didn't realize, is that AKIM had a lot of trouble getting to the Romania, didn't he?
Yeah, he I guess he missed a flight, and he came in like last minute. But I told him it doesn't matter. You look great, so why even worry about it?
Didn't he lose his phone too for a little bit too?
I think he did lose. Someone told me he lost his phone. There was a phone issue, right?
He was having a nervous breakdown, which I don't blame him. You know, you're in a foreign country and you don't have a cell phone. And, and I think he had just bought a new iPhone 16 or something like that. And he was like, he had all his contacts and everything on there. And, it really is, scary. I mean, luckily iCloud stores everything, but still to not have a phone in a foreign country, that could be definitely traumatizing and can mess up your mental mindset.
It's traumatizing where you can't find it in your own office for like an hour. Yeah.
Isn't it funny the priority changes, Chris? When we were competing, if we didn't have our food and a posing suit with us, that would have been the worst thing that could possibly happen. Nowadays, if you don't have your phone, that's worse than not having your posing suit.
Well, imagine. I mean, it probably has like who's picking you up at the hotel. I mean, the airport. It has the hotel you stay at, the venue, your diet, like every single person's contact in there. You're in the country.
Right, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I mean, you could. It's really it's ridiculous, and it's also sane at the same time, because we do depend on those phones for everything now.
Everything.
But at the same time, I mean, what did we do before we had the phones? We somehow managed to function and compete and travel.
I don't even know how, Dave, we got around. Like, how I would come out to, like, how would you find Steve's gym in Syosset, New York? You like go over the rugs, whatever, the bridge.
You'd have to write the directions down on a piece of paper. That's what you did.
It's crazy.
Second stop sign, make a left on Allen Court, and make a U-turn at Robbins Lane and pull into
I remember trying to get from Manhattan to Bob Gruskin's house, and I thought I knew where to go, and I didn't have like landmarks.
Yeah.
I drove around for like 3 hours looking for his house. Like I'd take the wrong exit and have to start all over.
The great thing though is once you learned where to go, someplace to go, then you actually you knew where you were going. You didn't have to you didn't have to like the GPS. You just follow this GPS. You don't even know where you're going. Half the time.
Yeah.
There's a team talking with Nick Best.
Could send you off a cliff and you just drive. Take a left. Yeah. Off the cliff. There you go.
There's Akeem talking about losing his phone with Nick Best on that podcast. But that was pretty scary, I got to tell you, because he almost didn't make it. And obviously the show is AKIM Williams versus RAFA BRANDAO, who I have to give props to. We've been a little rough on RAFA the last 2 years because we really haven't seen him bring the conditioning in that we're used to seeing from him, especially when you worked with him back in the day. And he finally delivered, it seems like. Were you happy with the way he looked in terms of conditioning?
Yeah, I thought his condition was the best it's been in a long time. And I think that's, if he didn't bring in this type of condition, then he definitely wouldn't have won. It was, when he's in this type of condition, you really, his physique shows a lack of weaknesses. And when he's in this type of condition, his physique shows all his strengths. So it shows both. It shows lack of weakness, and it highlights the strengths more so than anyone else because of their structure. In other words, someone else could come in like their best condition or his condition, and it may highlight their strengths, but you'll still see the weaknesses because they have. So he doesn't technically have weaknesses. So in great condition, you can see clearly both the strengths and the complete lack of weaknesses, which allows him to, like in this case, beat AKIM Williams, who's a power physique.
Yeah, I mean, when I looking at this this battle between these two guys, I really see Rafa winning it from behind because he's got that dry, crisp glute, hamstring, but his back is so detailed, something we haven't seen from him. When he won the Arnold Brazil earlier this year, a lot of people were like, this guy didn't deserve it. A lot of people thought, it was a gift. And now he really comes in the way we would have liked to seen him early in the year. And he's showing a lot of detail. And Akim's only weakness really in his physique is that back double bicep. And I think Rafa really exploits that weakness here in this show.
Well, that's the pose that is a weakness for AKIM.
Yeah.
When Rafa is in this type of condition, it's actually a strength for him. He has a very good back double bicep. It's shaped like the way you would want a back to be shaped. It's got a great V taper to it, flaring lats, the mid, the hips are small, the waist is small, and he's got the traps, the lats, everything that you want to see in like a good back double bicep.
Yeah. You talking about AKIM?
I'm talking about
Rafa. Okay. Yeah. And you know what? He's not the biggest guy. Obviously, AKIM is much bigger than him on stage, but I think that's where Rafa kind of went wrong. Maybe the last year and a half, he was worried about being bigger than these guys, and he doesn't look better bigger. If you had to guess, and obviously we don't know the exact numbers on this, but in the last 2 years, how much muscle do you think that Rafa has added to his physique?
5 pounds.
So he really added 5 real pounds as opposed to, because I know there was numbers like 20, 25.
I'm guessing, but
yeah,
it's not the number. It's because it's on the right structure.
Right.
The number could be bigger, but it's probably not as much as you think because,
yeah.
I mean, case in point, what I will tell you is his body weight is probably lighter here than it's been in the last 3 shows.
100%.
And this is the better look for him.
It absolutely is. Yeah, he looked really good. Yeah. And he was, I was going to say 7 pounds. So, you're probably, you've got the good eye. So you probably are right. But on his frame, it looks like 15, is what it looks like.
It could be 9. It could be, you could throw out number 17. It doesn't matter the number.
Right.
It just, when he adds the weight, more mass, but he brings in the right level of condition, it looks bigger than the number.
Interesting. True. How close do you think it was? I mean, I've talked to some people who thought that AKIM should have won this. And I really, to be honest with you, I was having trouble making a decision based on the pictures and video. Obviously, if we were there, it would be a lot more apparent. Obviously, AKIM bigger. I like the bigger size, and I thought he brought really good conditioning. But, I understand the Rafa polish, especially from behind. It's impressive. His tan was really good. What was your impression? If you can remove yourself, I know you helped AKIM, so it's hard to take yourself out of the equation.
I mean, I thought AKIM may have won because here's what I was weighing: is AKIM's mass enough to win the show over someone who's in equally as good condition with more classical and pleasing lines and flow. I mean, that's what you're ultimately, seesawing with.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's poses that AKIM is overwhelming on, and there's poses that AKIM wins. But if you add everything up, it's a close battle, I thought.
Yeah.
Like if I was judging and I had like Raphael first, and then I looked to the left and like the judge next to me had AKIM first, I know that he would be judging based on density and mass.
Right.
And clearly he's got more density and mass. But if I had AKIM first and I looked to the left and the judge had Raphael first, I would say he's judging on the sum of the parts, the sum total of the impression, which comes down to like lack of weaknesses and lines. Right. Because you can't say that Raphael outmuscled AKIM.
No.
But you can say AKIM outmuscled Raphael on shots. And then it comes down to like, okay, there's clearly shots that I think AKIM wins, and there's clearly shots that Raphael wins. Then you might go back to like, okay, who has one shot for their body that's a weakness? And that's AKIM has the back double that's a weakness for his body. Not so much the back last one. Back double is a weakness.
Yeah.
To go to Raphael, he doesn't have any weaknesses throughout. Front double, front lat. You know what I mean? They're all balanced. And that.
So you're saying it came down to that pose, basically, is what decided the show.
I think it came down to probably the back double bicep.
Yeah.
I think it probably came down to the back double bicep.
You know what's interesting about the back double bicep? Well, what I found interesting about the back double bicep, and maybe Sid can put this up for us, is that Amir Omaragic, who is another guy you helped in the show who took third, I thought he had the best back double bicep of anyone. He was so grainy, hard, and big. He doesn't have the structure that AKIM and Rafa has, but this guy really brought conditioning, man, that was so, I love the guys that come in like super freaks, shredded to the bone. He was the best I've ever seen him. I mean, he was just off the charts, nuts.
Well, when you look at the top three, it's just an unbelievable. You have super crazy conditioning of Amir, super freakiness of AKIM.
Yeah.
And then you can understand, of course, Raphael winning because he's like, not in a negative way. He's I was going to say the odd man out, but that's not he's the odd man in. In other words, he didn't have the best condition. He didn't have the most amount of mass. He had the most amount of balance on every pose. Was he the most conditioned? No. Was he the biggest? No. Did he have the least amount of weaknesses for his physique? Absolutely yes. Everything flows. Everything's balanced. And he's got the best structure there. He's got the classical structure because AKIM still has a crazy structure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a mind-boggling sweep to the thighs and big pecs. And
I love his conditioning, though. I love Amir. I mean, I think Amir has made some really good improvements to his back too since the beginning of the year when we saw him. I was very critical of his back. I said, this guy needs to really work on his back. Still could come up a little bit more, but I mean, he definitely made improvements, and that just goes to show you what at 25 years old you can do. You can compete a couple times during a year and make improvements between shows, which is something you can't do when you're in your 30s,
Dude,
except if your name is Andrew Jack.
This is like the fourth or fifth show of the year.
I know, it's crazy. He looks fresh too. He looks like he just he was he hasn't even done a show.
Yeah, he was
Look
super.
how good his back got. His back got really good. It's incredible. And like I said, he's only 25 years old. I mean, that's incredible as far in my book,
He was actually 2 years ago. Let's see, 3 years ago, when he was 22, he was fourth here. Do you know who the top four were?
No.
Rafael was first. For Brazilian fans, that would have been my, like, I think only 88th pro win. Rafael was first. Samson was second. Third was Belarus, and fourth was Amir.
That's funny. Wow.
That's at 22.
Right.
Losing to those guys. I mean, what a lineup.
I didn't even realize that, to tell you the truth. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. This is guys that did this show were really smart because, you know what? Think about now you got Rafa's qualified. Oh my God, what the hell did I just put up there? I'm trying to get my browsers to work. That's obviously not working. Rafa, is now qualified for next year. Theoretically, I don't know if he will, but he could take the whole year off if he wants to try to grow and then come into the Olympia. I think it would be a mistake. I'd love to see him compete at like New York Pro or something like that, and possibly win that show. I think that would be a good title for him. I think they're giving away some good money, maybe even hit Pittsburgh. What do you think? When will we see him again? If you had to predict,
probably the Olympia. Because there's, it's he's done a lot of shows too, and there's nothing better than rest, and there's nothing better than physical rest and mental rest. So I think it would be like the best would be to take the year off, the off season rather. You're already qualified. Get ready for the Olympia. Lay it all on the line. Right. Because he's, this is a great AKIM. If you can beat AKIM, you're beating mass monsters, and that's who he's got to beat. Right. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if you can add more muscle onto this package.
Do you think we'll see Rafa next week in Prague or no?
No, definitely not.
Will we see AKIM in Prague?
No, you won't see AKIM in Prague.
So he just came to do Romania. Okay. I mean, next week ostensibly is the big one. Obviously, we're going to see Chris Bumstead. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Did you know they sold 1 million pay-per-views for next week?
Did they really?
No, I just made that up.
I thought you did. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the Tyson fight for a minute. Isn't Tyson fighting next week, Jake Paul?
Is he fighting? Is it next week?
Yeah. Sid's announcing it, right, Sid? Sid got the gig. He beat Bruce Buffer out. Bruce Buffer was going to announce it. They said, you know what? We want to use Sid. We like him better after hearing him at the Olympia. So, all right. What about what do you think of Horse MD?
He looked good. I think
he was
that
fourth, obviously.
Got a liability right now is his back double bicep. If he had Amir's back double bicep, you'd maybe be talking about the winner. Who knows?
He's got to figure out what's going on with that back because he's very shallow back there, and it's not because the muscles are there. They're just not developed, and I don't know if it's because he's got those big freaky arms. Maybe he's using his arms too much when he's training his back. Whatever the case is, he's got to bring that back up. And you know what? To be honest with you, back is the hardest body part to grow. A lot of guys have just natural genetics for legs and arms, and then they try to bring the back up, and it's the last thing to really come up. And it's also one of those body parts, Chris, that you have to train really heavy and really hard with good technique. It's tough. It hurts. And, a lot of guys just don't put the work in on that. And, he's young still also. So it's going to take him a couple of years to really bring that back in the way he's going to need to. But it's all there, So today, you can enlarge those or no? All right, that's good. Yeah, that looks pretty good right there. See if you can pull up the Horse MD pictures. Is that Horse MD? No. Yeah. The guy's got such gifted legs,
He's got extremities. He's got great legs, great arms. He's got very good pecs. Side chest, side tricep, very good because the pecs are full. The back lat spread's pretty good too. You know, he's got width. It's it's
the
thickness.
the thickness, the thickness. All right. Well, next week, you know what? I noticed that I was looking at the results and I saw that Ahmad Ashkenani was trying to requalify early too, and he had to settle for second place. Radoslav Angelov from Bulgaria won the 212. Do we have any pictures of him, Sid?
Yeah, the Bulgarian was at his all-time best.
Yeah, he was really good. I'm sure Ashkenani was not happy with that. Oh, here's Horse MD, the video. Okay, sorry. We're a little late. I think I've seen Horse a little leaner than this too, but
no, I think he's been tighter. You know, tighter last year when he was in the show, and you know, it goes back to Look, we're talking about Rafael being tight, and Marcelo have been tight prior. So
I'd like to see Horse MD take the whole year off and just train. Maybe do this show again next year. You know, and just he's young. He needs size. If he wants to compete in the open class, he's going to need more size on his body.
Yeah,
he's got the showy body parts, as Bob Grushkin would say, but he doesn't have the body parts that win shows, like the dense, you know, back with all that depth, like the Dorian, you know, level of leanness back there. He's got a lot of the good pump body parts, and so I think if he puts on another 15 pounds of muscle on that frame, he's going to be deadly with that structure.
Yeah.
So I would recommend he just take some time off.
He's got the structure. He's got the structure, and that's important, you know.
You know, the young guys nowadays seem like they're really eager to compete, which I'm glad, because I hate these guys that never compete and they compete once every 2 years. But sometimes you have to take some time off to put the muscle on, to add that tissue, that new tissue. And if you're not a hyper responder where you're going to gain 20 pounds real quickly, you might need to take an entire season and then compete again next year. To take, you know, because if you compete every 6 months, you're only really getting 2 months or maybe 3 months if you're lucky of muscle building. And that's just not that much time to put on new tissue and then solidify those gains. Well, 6 to 8 months is much better, you know.
You just said the key sentence was solidify those gains.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can add what looks to be muscle, but you start dieting and it's hard to keep it.
Yeah.
Keep all of it when you're dieting down, which was the whole point when you said, you know, should Rafael do like New York? And I mean, he could be improved by New York and he could be improved by Pittsburgh, but sometimes, you know, you need more time to allow that muscle to solidify. And, you know, Amir called me after the show and he said, you know, what do you think about taking the year off? I said, I think it's a great idea. You haven't had an off season in like 3 years. You know, he's compete.
He's the kind of guy that could put 30 pounds on also in a year if he took a whole year off.
He could definitely put on like 10 pounds by next year.
He'll come back like Nasser next year, you know what I mean? So, but, you know, everyone grows differently too. You know, but like you said, the longer you keep the new gains on your body, the more solid they are. That's a good picture of you guys. Where was that? Is that in New York?
New York.
Yeah, that's what I thought. In muscle gossip news, did you see Hadi Chopin has got his hair transplants done at
Dave, I
Turkey?
Dave's trying to give me news, but I know someone who's over 50 who's getting a hair transplant there, and he said, I just ran into Hadi Chopin.
How funny is that? That he just happened to be going the same time Hadi was going. I thought Hadi had the best hair I've ever seen. I didn't realize that he was losing it.
Maybe he's wearing a Sean Ray wig. I don't know.
I think Hadi would look good with a shaved head and just the beard. Don't you think that would be a badass look?
It would be a badass look, but I think he has great hair.
Yeah, maybe he's losing it. You know, he's getting older now. That's, you know, as time passes, you start receding a little bit, and he's doing some damage control.
They all have the same hairline as like Bumstead's going to have. It's all like they just draw it's like.
I know. Why do they do that? It looks a little weird, you know, right?
But you can tell everyone who's been to Turkey because they have not the same. They have the same hairline.
Yeah, they should have like a book of diagrams, Chris, where you can pick out the hairline you want at least, so that if like you don't want the bowl across the top of the head. Maybe you want the Dracula little like widow's peak or something.
You can point to the hairstyle that you want. Right? They don't want it that way, but I guess here they say, no, look.
I'll take the Jay Cutler hairdo. Can you give me the Jay Cutler hairdo? So, or the Gunther Schlerkamp hairdo, please?
They're doing. I told you they're doing testicular like transplants in Turkey.
Eric Blackman's on the list. Yeah, no, they all went. Yeah, exactly. They all went to the same clinic as Cbum. They actually contacted me. I actually would have gone too, but I was like, I have no hair, no donor hair left because I did it in the old days. You know, but they used up all my donor hair. But
you can't take it somewhere else, like off your chest or your.
Nah, I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? I don't want any pubic hair on my head or anything like that. You know, it just probably wouldn't look good. It is. I gotta say, Chris, the technology for this hair replacement nowadays is so good. They don't have to cut the strip of the hair out of the back of your head like they used to do when I did it. It's they take them out one at a time and they replant them. It's the technology is incredible, and we're making the jokes, but it really does look good. These guys have very nice hair.
Read every single page of Muscle and Fitness. Who had the full page ad in Muscle and Fitness back in the day?
Bosley.
Yeah,
and Joe was in the picture with Bosley.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
I think Joe had hair right from Bosley.
Joe, I don't know. Joe had the best hair.
Yeah. And I think Arnold got hair from Bosley, didn't he?
I don't know if he did or didn't.
Yeah, no, that's not Arnold's hair. That's definitely a transplant.
Arnold did not go to Turkey because then they'd have
he'd have it across the top, right?
Like no, but you know what? They say a bowl haircut when they put the bowl.
But you know what? Look, in some people it looks good because that's their normal hairline. But they should really try to follow whatever you should bring in pictures of what you look like when you were younger, and you should be able to follow the hairline that you had when you were younger. They don't
have any for $5,000. It's like
these guys are getting done for free, Chris, because they're using them as promotional, people. Yeah. You know, if you're a top level bodybuilder, they'll do you for free there, which is smart because bodybuilders, are very vain, and if like Hadi gets it done, how many guys in Iran do you think are going to go there to Turkey? They can just get in a car and drive there probably. They don't.
Hadi apparently the visa for everywhere.
They can go to Turkey out of Iran. They can't come here, but they go to Turkey. So I have to imagine that these clinics in the United States now are going to pick up on what's going on in Turkey. I'm sure they're stealing all their technology, and they'll probably be doing it even better here. So I think within the next couple of years, and they might be doing right now, they might be doing great work. I bet you for an extra $2,000 that you'd spend on the airplane, you could probably get it done here.
Well, I don't know if it's true, but I heard that Trump is going to put a tariff on when you come back from Turkey.
You have to pay if you get your hair done there?
Got a hairline.
Right.
$3,000.
Right. Yeah, that's got to be a little traumatizing when they shave your hair. They didn't have to do that for me they didn't shave the head when I went for it. But Chris is a good-looking guy, so it doesn't matter. He can shave his head. He probably look better with a shaved head.
2025 Mr. Olympia right there.
Fabio. Oh my God. Well, I hope it turns out well for you, Hadi. I always thought Hadi would just shave his head and just he would look perfect. He's got a good head. So, but we all love our hair. I miss my hair. You have great hair. I mean, you don't do anything with your hair, but you have the best hair I've ever seen. You've got a thick head of hair.
Getting thin.
Yeah, you're untestalized. You'll never lose.
No, it's getting thin, and the Brazilian fans are starting to celebrate.
I'm not saying a word. You brought it up. I didn't bring it up.
I can bring up inside jokes, Dave.
Oh, all right. I find it fun that all the controversial stuff that you do happens in Brazil. Remember when you confronted George Farah in the airport? That was in Brazil.
Oh, yeah, that was Brazil. Yeah.
Something happens with you in Brazil. There's like a things escalate somehow.
Yeah. Well, I think there's like what's it called? A curse. There's no Santeria down there, is there?
No. If you don't believe in it, you can't be cursed. So it doesn't matter.
I'm protected.
Did you see this guy, Elliot Dermond? He's really good. This guy just won a show this past weekend.
Dave, let me tell you what I thought about him. He lived. Do you know how many people post Instagram photos and then on stage they look like trash?
I know. Yeah. He looks better.
I've seen him here and there for like a couple years on Instagram. And I always think, like, if you would ask me, hey, what do you think of this guy? I would say, well, looks crazy on Instagram. He over-delivered in real life. he looks like he took his Instagram photo, filtered it, and showed up in real life like the filter.
I know, I know, it's crazy. He's doing nationals in a few weeks. I can't see him losing.
Those are real pictures. Go back to that most muscular.
I know.
Go back to that most muscular.
Yeah.
That dude is
badass. He might have won he might have won in Prague in Romania this past weekend with that look.
I didn't want to I didn't want the Brazilian hate. Yeah, he looks really impressive, man.
Put up his back shots, Sid.
The abs, the side chest.
Oh, he's crazy looking. Yeah. He'll pull a back shot. This kid cannot lose nationals. I mean, unless he screws up or something like that. I mean, no one's the size of him.
When is the nationals?
In December. So
it's in December.
Yeah, it's got about a month, I think. He's
so impressive. It's crazy. When I saw the pictures that you just posted, I saw those too. Yeah, best amateur I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, Bob Gruskin would have loved him. Definite like look that he liked. He's got clean muscle too. You know, we talk about clean muscle where it doesn't look all shot up, it doesn't look all lumpy. He's young.
Right. I just going to say doesn't look shot up. It looks like it's been. It looks right. He's got a lot of people with a lot of, like, when you have big shoulders and arms like that, usually people are lacking pecs.
Yeah.
Or what a lot of people don't have is a good midsection, and that ab shot is like lights out.
Yeah.
That phenomenal abs.
I think he's going to be very difficult to beat in a couple of weeks.
Oh gosh, he's an amateur dude.
Yeah. Sid, pull up that picture from his Instagram where he shows his before and after picture. I think it's the latest post he has on his page. It's a great. I love this picture. I love this transformation picture. It's insane. Oh, hold on. Let me just address something or put that up first, Sid. Then I'll address it. Look at that picture, Chris. Look at that before and after. Isn't that crazy? I wonder, what does he weigh? Does anyone know what he weighs? Looks big. He's gonna be dangerous, this kid, when he gets his pro card. I think he's better than Nick Walker. What do you think?
You know,
I mean, when Nick was coming up, I'm talking about, not now.
I would agree.
Yeah, he's got a better structure. Let me just address this guy. A lot of things that you guys, I'll read the post first. Well, thanks for the $5 tip. Dave, I saw a previous video you did about Protolite, said it had no soy. I'm about to buy a couple bottles, but now it says it has soy. Is the soy fermented? Most whey protein isolates and protein powders in the market use soy lecithin to extract the protein. So it's not in there. There's no soy in there. We're not putting like soy, adding it to the mix to increase the protein count. It's just by coincidence there might be like a gram of it in there, or half a gram here or there. Probably less than that. It's probably like a quarter of a gram. It's just used to extract the protein properly. So they used to use something else, and it was it was a controversial ingredient. So they switched to soy lecithin. It's not adding any significant amount of soy or protein to the mix, and all proteins are processed with soy lecithin. So it's a very common ingredient. So the problem is there are people that have soy allergies, and you have to put that on the label to let them know that it's there, because they could have an anaphylactic shock from it. But for most people, it's going to have no effect whatsoever on it unless you have a severe soy allergy. So but this is the case for all protein powders out there. So it's something that a lot of people don't know. You would only know it if you were involved in the manufacturing process of the protein. But that's something that's in all whey proteins. It doesn't, like I said, count towards the protein count. It has no significance as far as the amount of it. It's just, it is present. It's like if you make protein in a factory that's processed with peanuts, some of that peanut flour can kind of settle in your product. No one would know it, but if you have a peanut allergy, you can't take the protein because you could once again, go into anaphylactic shock. So certain people with very sensitive peanut allergies have to know if the products that they're eating or consuming are made in a factory that has peanuts there. And if they do, then they can't use those products. So these are just for special populations of people. So I hope that clarified that point. All right. What else did I want to talk about?
Dave, you find a buffet in Cape Coral to replace the hotel buffet in Qatar?
No, unfortunately not. There's some good sushi, all you can eat places here, but the nothing that has every cuisine around the entire world. That's for sure. All right. Let's talk about next week, because I guess we're people are wondering.
Yeah.
Bumstead entering the open class. Originally he said he thought maybe he could win it. He said if he won it, he would potentially do the Olympia this year, or 2025. Now he's backing off his statement. He's saying he doesn't think he can win. What's going on here? Is this mental mind games he's playing with these people, or is he just kind of talking off the cuff?
I don't know, but I told you.
Pull some pictures, Sid, of Bumstead.
I told Dave off the air. I said if he wins, he'll do the Olympia.
Why wouldn't he? Yeah.
That's before he announced that.
Mm-hmm. You did say that. So,
Dave, how many predictions have I had in the last? What was the one that I predicted?
You know what? I'm more of a predictor. You're just a good interpreter of human nature. So you make your predictions based on what you know the person is about and their personality.
Okay. Funny you say that. So what I think now is that I think that's talk to quell the uproar of, there's a little bit of pushback of there's some pushback in bodybuilding, like he can't win an open show. And I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just saying there's pushback. Mm-hmm. And there's the idea that if he wins, that quote, they, which I don't believe, will push him to be Mr. Olympia. Meaning they, the judges, which I don't believe. But that's pushback,
Does anyone wear white socks anymore like that, Chris? I didn't know that.
So it's I would interpret that as it's his way of quelling the chatter.
No, you might be right.
But it's going to be exciting because it's apparently we're not going to get the the classic look. Well, he's coming in bigger. And, who knows? We'll know within 2 seconds. I mean, we knew this was going to be AKIM versus Raphael, and next week it's going to be Bumstead versus Martin. Yeah.
His Bumstead's hair transplants came out pretty good from that place he went to.
Let's take another look at Bumstead's hair
transplants. Put up a picture of Bumstead. Let's look at his hair. Well, who cares about what his physique looks like? Let's look at his hair.
I'm putting on 2 sets to be able to really take a look at that.
Let's look at that hair transplant he got. I think he got a good job done there.
Constantinople.
He let his grow out in the front. He's got some waviness to it, but he's young. He's only 29, so he can pull that look off, And he's a good looking guy too. So
I would have liked to seen him. I would have liked to see Reagan Grimes in the show, simply because there would be a rematch of Reagan versus Bumstead. Reagan for the teenage Canada.
No, show the after, Sid. I want to see what it looks like now. That's what I like. Who's slated to compete in this in Prague?
Martin.
We have Sean Clarita, right?
Clarita right now 3 pounds less than AKIM, I heard.
3 pounds less than AKIM. And then we of course have. I mean, obviously Martin is going to be his biggest battle. But you know what? I will say this. I think Bumstead is a better poser than Martin. Better at displaying his physique. He looks more polished on stage, because let's face it, he is a Mr. Olympia. You know, it doesn't matter that he's Mr. Olympia in another class. He's very majestic on stage. He knows how to show his physique off very well. Martin looks still a little on the nervous side when he's posting up there. So.
He looks really good in that front lat spread, man. He probably front lat. Let's see what poses will he win for sure. Front lat spread for sure. Yeah,
I don't think he can win.
Side chest.
The side poses he can beat Martin for sure. Yeah.
Martin's very good in it, but yeah, that's the new hair, right?
Yeah, it's good. it's across the head, but it looks good on him. So, because like I said, he's a good-looking guy, so he can pull it off. No, what about the front double? Excuse me. What about the front double bicep? Who wins that? Martin.
Martin, because of the he's got giant quads.
Yeah, and good arms too.
Yeah, and he's got very good arms.
All right, so let's give Bumstead the two side poses. I'm not saying he's going to win it, but let's just give it to him, okay? And we'll give him the front lat spread, okay? He's not going to win the most muscular against Martin, right?
No, Martin's a powerhouse there.
Who wins the back poses?
Martin.
So then Martin wins.
Yeah. Martin's got a very good back lat. Yeah.
But then again, what about the whole presentation, quarter turns, you know, how he displays his physique?
Well, they don't do quarter turns. They don't do quarter turns, so throw those out. They don't.
They don't even call them? I think they call them, though, don't they? No?
Stand and relax from the front. Who wins?
Yeah. Bumstead.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know what
about ab thigh? Who wins ab thigh?
I think Martin, because Bumstead has a vacuum. He doesn't really have abs.
No, he doesn't have abs. He doesn't have that great abs.
But you know, if they get into the, if it gets into like a lot of calls over and over and over and over again, and they're standing.
Clarita looks pretty damn good. I got news for you. He put a lot of that muscle back on. His legs don't look up to the stuff yet, but his upper body looks ridiculous. You know. Yeah,
play it back again. Yeah, he looks really good. He's
what like, so wacky looking, right?
He might be a pound bigger than AKIM.
I saw a picture. I don't know if he posted or someone else posted it when he was natural, like 20 years ago.
Yeah,
like in some natural organization. He looked like he was like 12 years old, Chris, and he still had a good physique. He probably was 130 pounds when he was natural.
He actually looks. Hit those back shots. He looks a lot like Samson.
Yeah, he's harder. The only thing that looks like it didn't come back to me is his legs still look a little down in size. They're shredded, but his adductors are a little smaller than normal. But everything else looks wacky. I mean, I think he'll definitely be probably top 3. You know,
well, yeah, he'll be the most confident in the lineup.
Yeah, he'll beat Horse MD just on the back double. You know. I don't see him challenging that. I think that Martin and Bumstead are going to be challenging, but you know, Clarita could shock people. He could beat possibly Bumstead. Who knows?
Well, he's got a better back double.
It's going to be a funny thing because Bumstead's really tall and Clarita's short. It should look pretty. Someone has a virtual pose down there. Look at that. That's great. Yeah, but that's like Clarita from the Olympia. And he's small here, so I would like to see what he looks like now, compared to him. So,
yeah,
I got to give it to you. These guys that do these virtual pose downs, they do a really good job with it. They actually look like they're standing next to each other.
Yeah, Clarita will be the most confident because he has nothing to lose.
Yeah, I agree.
And even if he did, you know what? I correct myself. If he had everything to lose, he'd still be the most confident. So it doesn't matter anyway.
Well, he's very sure of himself. And I think that helps.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to thank my friend Steve Reeves, not Steve Reeves the actor, but Steve Reeves the bodybuilder, and he sent me. He owns this company and makes this product called Nuts and More. Have you ever seen this?
No. Where's Steve Reeves live?
He's him because I think he did something with Gruskin years ago. He's in Rhode Island.
Steve Reeves? That's why I asked.
You remember Steve Reeves?
Steve Reeves has a brother, another Gruskin.
Yes. Yep.
Al Reeves was a phenomenal, one of like 500 that Bob coached, but he was a phenomenal bodybuilder. and I don't know whatever happened to Al.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to ask Steve. But
There's three brothers. I went to their house, Dave. I went to Steve's house. If Steve remembers.
Oh, that's so funny. That is funny. That's hysterical. One of our mutual friends that we never ran into each other.
Dave, and I drove down to meet Bob and Joe Miko. Wait, without a GPS.
Unbelievable.
And I took my father's car because I said, I'm going to train for the day with Mr. America. Can you imagine?
Oh my God! Did you really? That's so funny.
Dave, you want to laugh even further?
What?
Go down. We go. I meet Bob at this diner. Me, Bob, Joe Miko. I think Al Reeves might have been there.
Didn't Joe Miko used to have those hooks?
Yeah,
the strap hooks.
And I ate more than I ever ate in my life because Bob, gotta eat this. And Joe Miko ate like 1,000 carbs and like 200 grams of protein.
Joe Miko made the first, before VersaGrippers or anything, he had these. I remember Doug Wentz used to use them. They were like, there was like a Velcro around your wrist, and then it was like a hook on it, and the hook would hook onto the bar, and you just pull, so you wouldn't have to use your hand, your arms when you're doing back strength.
VersaGrips is made in Maine, and they put them out of business.
Yeah, no, I know.
So, anyways, I went with Bob Graskin. Yeah. We ate, went to the gym. That's when I realized, like, oh my God, people eat this much amount of food. It was like we went to the diner, then like to the train, then like
right.
after the gym back to eat, and then like
right.
later out to eat again. I'm like, we just ate.
Chris, that's what bodybuilders do. They eat every. that was your problem. If you would have been able to eat, you would have been a pro easily.
No, but then I would have been having a hair transplant done.
That's true. You would have lost your hair. That's true. Oh my God, Bob! You were probably Bob probably fed you less than any other bodybuilder that ever stayed with him.
No, he oh God, the Bob food stories.
Speaking of eating, anyway, I want to thank Steve Reeves for sending me the nuts and butter.
Steve,
nuts and more.
Say hi to Al. Reeves.
Yeah, I'm going to tell him it's a great product. It's peanut butters that taste great. I'm going to give them to my kids, and I've been using them. It's delicious. Thank you for that. And I see that Nick Walker has a new coach. It seems like it's going to be this Kyle Wilkes guy. You see this? So do you want to pull that up? I don't know. How does Nick Walker pick these coaches?
I don't know. You friends with Dominic Superslice? How do you pick him? Dom seems like a knowledgeable guy.
No, Dom's very knowledgeable, but then he didn't keep him. I guess I think that Nick likes to find people that not a lot of guys are working with. Yeah. Because maybe he thinks he'll get more personalized attention.
Well, you know what, Dave? There's not truth to that, because a coach can have, I had Akim and Amir in the same show, but I can really understand from the athlete's point of view. Yeah. Like, I want undivided attention. I can understand that completely.
Yeah, but I think his claim to fame is he does the diet for the Trend twins. This guy. Maybe we'll get him on the show. I'll contact him. Let's get Kyle on the show. Maybe we can talk about it. Now I don't know if has he confirmed it yet, Sid, or no?
Maybe the Trend twins have the Trend source, so that
Nick's going there. He needs real Trend, so he's going to go to the Trend twins. Hook up with them.
Ron Partlaw's best line ever was that Trend kills COVID.
It might. Who knows? Do we know anyone who's got COVID while on Trend? There's a study that we need to do, Chris. That might be a fun study too.
Oh, your friend JFK Jr. RFK.
I think RFK Jr. will fund that study, and then if it comes back that it's true, then you can get legal Trend shots. It's the pharmacy.
Ask RFK if he's going to deregulate steroids.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I don't, because I think he realizes it's a joke. No public confirmation from Nick so far, but Nick did tag Kyle on his latest progress picture. Kyle reposted it to a story with the devil smiling emoji. All right, well, that sounds pretty. That sounds like it's probably a done deal at this point.
Yeah.
You know, I got to tell you this funny story. So I do this video a couple weeks ago using my Protolyze protein pudding.
The one with the soy.
I had a few clients who tell me you got to put it in the Ninja. You got to get the Ninja Creamy. It's an ice cream maker, and they see use the Protolyze in the recipe, and it makes the best ice cream. So after like 10 people have told me this already, I go and I buy the Ninja Creamy, and the best place to buy it, I found at least, is Walmart.com. Much cheaper than Amazon. So I get this the Ninja Creamy, and I pull a Chris Aceto. I read half the directions, right? All right, this seems easy enough. So I create my own recipe. I get the cup out. I put a cup of almond milk in there, or coconut milk. I think I use coconut milk first. I put a third of a cup of monk fruit sweetener in place of sugar, so it's not absorbable. I put 2 scoops of Protolyze. That's 60 grams of protein. My protein pudding, it's got 7 strains of probiotics in there. I put a little vanilla extract in there, and I throw an egg in there. I think they wanted originally cream cheese. I substituted for an egg. So I put it all in there, and I put it in the Ninja Creamy, and I spin it up, and I take the stuff, and I do a video like I'm a big shot, you know. And I cap the thing, and I put it in the freezer. The next day, I take it out. I finish the video, and I show people me eating it. It's hard. It's a little hard to get the spoon in there, but I'm like, this is delicious. And I'm reading the comments on the YouTube video. It got a lot of hits, this thing, because, you know, people like recipes. And people are saying, dummy, you didn't read the directions. You're supposed to freeze the ingredients first in the thing and then take it out and put it in the Ninja Creamy when it's frozen so it can whip the ingredients and turn them into ice cream. So like, what the fuck are these guys talking about?
Yeah.
So I go back and I get my glasses on. Now this is something my father would do. I pull out the paper. Let me read these directions. Step 1, I did right. Step 2, step 3. I said, uh-oh, I didn't see this. Step 4 was take the ingredients that you put into the thing and put it in the freezer for 24 hours. And then you take the frozen ingredients and you put them in the Ninja Creamy. So I basically use the Ninja Creamy as a blender rather than as an ice cream maker. So today I did another video because I wanted to make a chocolate chip ice cream. So I took all the ingredients, I put them in the canister, I sealed it, I put it in the freezer overnight. The next day, today, I get the thing out, I put it into the Ninja Creamy, and I turn this thing on, and it's frozen. You know, all the ingredients are frozen, and it's like woof, 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 and it goes all the way down to the end. And I'm like, all right, it's done. So I undo the thing, I open the thing up, and it's like Carvel soft serve. And I'm like, holy mackerel. What an idiot I was. I did it completely wrong the first time. Thank God for our viewers out there who are keeping me on my toes. I'm telling you, I promise you, if you tasted this, Chris, you would think it was better than the best Haagen-Dazs you've ever tasted. That's how good this stuff is.
How many carbs in it?
There's almost no carbs in it. It's got like 3 or 4 grams of carbs. And if you ate the whole thing, which you couldn't do, you'd eat half. The whole thing is actually about 70 grams of protein. I didn't calculate the exact fat. There's probably about, 15 grams of fat. It's all protein, but it's the way it whips it up and the flavoring system in the Protolyze plus the monk fruit I added to it. I'm telling you, it's better than real ice cream. What I did was I got raw cacao, okay? And I broke it up into little chips. You ever eat Haagen-Dazs chocolate chip? They're not chocolate chips. They're like little broken off pieces of like a chocolate bar. And I put them in there, and you use there's a separate cycle on the Ninja Creamy that actually mixes it all together without pulverizing the pieces. And I'm telling you, I thought I was eating the greatest ice cream I've ever eaten. It was spectacular. You guys can do this as a treat at night. You'll never ever want to eat a regular thing of ice cream. You'll say, if you eat the whole thing, which I would do when I was back in the day, 300 pounds, you get 70 grams of protein. And you're cheating. You feel like you're actually cheating. You're like, I'm eating ice cream. You don't even want real ice cream after you taste this stuff. That's how good it is. Plus, it's got probiotics in there. I'm telling you, it's the healthiest, best tasting ice cream. I'm going to put this video that I shot today on Instagram. I'm not even going to put it on YouTube. I'm just going to put it on Instagram because I like to admit when I make mistakes, and I was a complete idiot. But you know what? I learned the hard way, and I'm telling you, it's probably one of the best treats and good things to eat because it's actually a high quality protein. You guys are going to go crazy for it. It's going to be your favorite off-season, treat. I guarantee it. All right. There's my, my life is very boring, Jack. That's why I have to make fucking ice cream at night in my house. Exactly. I fully admit it. But you know what? Think about it. When you were bodybuilding, Chris, what was the highlight of like the weekend for you? We didn't go to clubs. We didn't go out. We would go to the movies or we'd go to the dinner, you know, and usually we wouldn't even do that because we were too cheap. We didn't want to spend money at a restaurant. So we make food at the house and then, you know, rent the movie at Blockbuster, right?
Yeah.
What else would you do? That's it.
Well, when you're dieting, I mean, your life is not.
No.
Like,
you're not drinking. You're not going out and slamming, you know, beers or anything like that.
You're going to bed so that you can
train the next morning at Steve Weinberger's gym, you know.
Yeah, in a snowstorm.
But if I had a Ninja Creamy back then, man, I would devour it.
In the worst ever, like when you're bodybuilding in the Northeast, even though we don't have snow anymore.
Yeah.
And like a snowstorm's coming, your major concern is like, how am I going to gym tomorrow? Are they going to be open? Actually, it wouldn't be how, because you'd get there in a storm. Just will they be open?
Yeah, believe me. And, you know, we didn't have good cars back then. We had cars that had, you know, like they were like Pontiacs, you know, and stuff like that. That were terrible in the snow, you know, but we've found a way to get to the gym somehow. We tiptoed to the gym because we couldn't miss a workout. And the great thing about Steve Weinberger's gym is he never closed the gym, so it didn't matter. He always was there. I don't think I've ever seen that gym ever closed. Probably, I wasn't living in Long Island at the time. Probably COVID was the only time he's ever closed that gym.
Yeah, he should come with. Well, he's not open 24 hours, is he? He is. Right?
No, he opens till midnight. But you know what? The gym is open every single day of the year. He's there. Christmas, they have hours every single day.
Yeah. Well, when Gold's used to be closed from like midnight to 4, and I'm like, why even close it?
Yeah, I know. You know what it is?
Clean it. We close it to clean it.
Right. I think that Steve just closed it because he just doesn't want any derelicts, you know, there when he's not there or something like that. So
Charles would leave at 11:45 and he'd show up at 4 a.m.
and who would open up? Kurt? I mean, what's his name? Kent Kuhn?
I don't even know back then. Arnie List.
Arnie List called me the other day. He's dying to get on the TV show, but I told him, I said, you got to get me a better topic than what you want to talk about. So
I already know.
Right. Well, I think that the Cbum getting on stage next. What'd you say?
Talk about.
What were you saying?
How's that for prediction? I'll tell you off the show. I already know what he wants to talk about.
Oh, you do?
Of course. Do you know what he wants to talk about?
I do. So I'll test you when we get off the show. You'll see if you know. And it's not tight as punching him in the nose.
No, I already know.
Oh my God. All right. Well, next week is going to be Cbum making his open debut. I think that's going to be the biggest story in bodybuilding this whole year, probably, because people are so excited about it. Myself included. I know you're very curious to see how he's going to do as well. So it's actually good for the sport. It gives a lot of, it gives a lot of post-Olympia excitement. Usually to a division, we don't really have a lot of excitement because the Olympia is kind of like the finale of the year. We have a couple shows that end the year, but it's usually for guys that are just looking to qualify for next year. To see a guy like Cbum, who's a 6-time Classic Physique Olympias guy who never did an open, as far as I know, he never did an open IFBB Pro show before, making his debut after he just retired. It's a big story, and I think that, he's got some stiff competition in Martin Fitzwater and Sean Clarita. And, it'll be interesting to see if he beats any of these top guys. It's going to be a feather in his cap. If he wins the show, it's going to be the story of the year. Don't you think?
If he wins the show, it is going to be, it's going to be an earthquake in the sport.
Yeah, I think so. And Sid is saying we're going to do a live reaction show to the Prague Pro. Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah,
I think we absolutely should.
If he wins the show, it's going to be an earthquake. And he'll have to be favored to win the Olympia next year because he was in the show. He was 4th. And so you're saying that Chris Bumstead just beat the guy who was 4th.
Right.
And we talked 45 minutes ago, what's best for Rafa Brandao to compete in New York, Pittsburgh, or take the year off? And we said, take the year off, give you time, body to grow. And then we'd be talking about, okay, Chris Bumstead, if he wins the show, takes the year off, where's he land? He just beat Martin Fitzwater.
And there's 25 million reasons, Chris, why we want to see Bumstead on that Olympia stage, because he's got 25 million followers that will watch him go to that Olympia stage in the open division and see how he does. And I think that's very good for the sport, you know.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine how popular that Olympia will be if this guy says, I'm doing the Olympia. Even if he comes in, even if he doesn't place, it doesn't matter. The fact that he's going to do the Olympia will bring so much notoriety to that Olympia.
I'm going to give you another prediction, but I can't give it on the show.
All right. All right. You'll give it to me off the air. We're at an hour anyway. We're going to wrap up. I want to thank you guys for joining us live again this day, even though my computer almost didn't work. Thank you, Sid, for sitting in and helping us out. Let's pull Sid in here for a second. Give Sid a little round of applause. Thank you for helping us out, Sid, tonight. He probably, there you go.
Oh, that was muted. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think? Well, let's give you the last word here.
Yeah.
Chris Bumstead next week. How's he going to do?
I mean, look, if he wins, you're talking about him knocking off the world number 4, right? So if he does exactly as Chris said, if he beats Martin Fitzwater, what's to say he's not going into the Olympia, to the Mr. Olympia, as literally a hopeful for a top 2, top 3 spot? I'll say top 2, because you're considering Martin coming in 4th, whereas many thought he could have finished 3rd this past Olympia. So if he beats him at this show, what are we talking about? 5 weeks post Olympia? What is the ceiling then? Is there a ceiling on Chris Bumstead? I mean, you're not talking about him going giant hunting against Samson Dauda.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, look, how do I think it's going to play out? I think Martin is more suited to open bodybuilding, but crazier things have been seen before, and we've never seen Chris Bumstead beefed up, for lack of a better phrase, 5 weeks post Olympia, see what he looks like with some, added size, obviously with his proportions. But if he comes out and wins this show, then I think you set yourself up for storylines heading into whenever the Olympia. We don't even know. It's going to be September, October, or whatever. But you're now talking about a massive, massive new storyline from now through the Olympia.
It would be the biggest thing and bring the most attention to the Mr. Olympia competition than probably has ever happened before, because he has 25 million followers. And don't think that doesn't play into the judges' minds if it's close in Prague.
Okay, final word on this one. Are you watching Cobra Kai?
Yes. Have they restarted it again?
Are you watching this new season?
Well, I watched the first half of it. Have they started the second half yet?
The first half, exactly. Okay, so now I'm going to draw a parallel, because Cobra Kai, I think you figured at this point they've milked just about every parallel from the movie trilogy. You're to the point where are they going to go next, right? And now all of a sudden they dropped this whole Sekai Taikai tournament, right, which nobody saw coming. Which, I mean, it really has nothing to do with the origins of Cobra Kai. It has really nothing to do with the San Fernando Valley, all their, the beef between Cobra Kai, Eagle Fang, Miyagi-Do karate, whatever. Now all of a sudden you have this random tournament they created. And not only do you have a final season, but you have a second half of the final season. Now I draw this parallel to Bumstead. Bumstead 5 weeks ago said that this is a bittersweet victory. This is my last show. I'm retiring. And now all of a sudden he's entering the Sekai Taikai. He's going to the Prague Pro. Because if he wins a Prague Pro, what's to say there isn't going to be the Sekai Taikai of him going to the Olympia and bringing his 200 and God knows how many million followers to that as well. Right.
What's to say he might not want to win the Arnold Classic, and jump in that as a last hurrah,
You're talking about now theoretically, what, 500,000?
Yeah. At the Arnold.
600,000. I mean, for as much money as he has, as much money as he makes on a monthly basis, you're telling me he would turn that down? Yeah. I don't think so. Yeah.
Well, Samson Dauda is a different animal in the Arnold Classic.
Yes.
So
yes,
if Chris does decide to win the show and does decide to do the Olympia, he's going to need the whole year to really put on a bunch of size, probably to be competitive at that level. But
would you wonder if he's actually going to be willing to do, given the fact that he stepped away from the sport, he just had a daughter, and obviously from all of his social media, you see just again how wrapped up he is in being a father, which is a beautiful thing. But would he be willing to commit to now all of a sudden? Are you docked off the world number 4, and now your sights are set? All of a sudden, quantum leap, retiring from Classic Physique, and now you're giant hunting against Samson Dauda in a matter of 10, 11 months.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. It's funny because I always say bodybuilders don't retire, Chris. They just take breaks. Chris took a 6-week break. Now he's coming back. He's competing again. You know, it reminds me, remember when Sadiq Hadzovic went from men's physique to classic? And he looked like he was going to we're like, he's going to dominate. He looks great. He put on all this muscle.
We thought the division was made for him. Remember, like we thought literally division was tailor-made for Sadiq Hadzovic.
Yeah, and he did good the first time year out. And then all of a sudden, everyone shot past him. So I think that Chris is going to have his work cut out for him size-wise, but it's a super exciting plot line, and I'm looking forward to it next week, and we'll be reporting live on it as it happens. For now, we're out of time. As we say every week with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
We'll see you next week.